So Rolling Stone has just come out with their top 500 greatest songs of all time. Of course, they're a very well-known publication that covers music, pop culture, and they've done a list like this before back in 2010. So this is an updated version, the first time in 10 years they actually come back and put together a list of the 500 best songs. So we'll actually be talking about all the hip-hop songs that made the list, the ones that didn't make the list, the biggest snubs, and everything else. So before we actually get started, guys, let us know in the comments your thoughts on this list. Do you think that they did a good job of representing hip hop as a genre? Because we had about 50 placements here for hip hop songs out of 500, which to me does seem like a lot. I would expect a bit less. So are you happy to see that we got 50 songs make it?
I think the genre is getting well respect now because of the amount of great projects that have come out throughout the years. I mean, hip hop has had a mega influence on the whole genre, and I mean, since 2017, hip hop music has been the most listened to music genre in the United States. So it was cool to see how there was this shift in tempo in the industry in the 2010 decade. And listen, I'm honestly I'm okay with a lot of these picks on here. I think that Rolling Stone usually gets a good job with these lists. That's a very well thought out list. But then again, there's some picks here that are a bit iffy for me.
I think it's an okay list, to be honest. I'm not too fond of it, to be honest.
So going through it, what expectations do you have for this type of list? What would make your top 500, and what type of, let's say, qualifications do you need?
You need to have the right artists there. There's a lot of legends missing from this list, which I'll get into later.
True.
There's a lot of artists who are on the list, but for the wrong song, in my opinion.
That's very true.
There's a lot of those situations. So before we actually give our full in-depth thoughts on the biggest snubs, the songs that we think should have been there, we'll actually take you guys through all the hip-hop songs that they did put on this list. So starting off at number 500, we have Stronger by Kanye West. At number 490, we have Old Town Road by Lil Nas X. Number 486, A Milli by Lil Wayne. 480, we have Just a Friend by Biz Markie. 478, Back That Ass Up by Juvenile. 453, we have The Rain by Missy Elliott. At number 451, Bad and Bougie by the Migos. 444, In the Club by 50 Cent. 438, The Savage Remix by Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. Number 430, They Reminisce Over You by P-Rock and CL Smooth. Number 427, Taking It Back to the Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. 426, we have Super Bass by Nicki Minaj, which is kind of, in the middle of hip-hop and pop, I would say, but still put it in here. 424, No Diggity by Blackstreet. 422, Flavor in Your Ear remix by Craig Mack featuring Biggie, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, and more. 406, Sucker MCs by Run DMC. Number 397, Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa. Number 388, Party Up in Here by DMX. Then we have at number 373, Hotline Bling by Drake. Then at 352, It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube. 330, Big Papa by Biggie. 320, California Love by Tupac.
Let me know when you want me to jump in.
You want to jump in? All right,
I'm going to give you a little bit of a break.
We're at 292, man.
We're at 292, okay.
Yeah.
Then we got 281, we have Grinding by Clips.
No, we haven't done 292.
Okay, we haven't done 292.
Yeah.
Can I Kick It by A Tribe Called Quest? That had to make this list.
Of course.
281, Grinding by Clips. 248, Straight Outta Compton by NWA. 267, Take Care by Drake featuring Rihanna. That was an interesting one, by the way.
Very interesting. We'll get into that.
We'll have to get into that. But then we have 245, Sabotage by Beastie Boys. We'll get into that too. 241, The Humpty Dance by Digital Underground. 223, Stand by Eminem. I expected this one to be higher on the list.
Yep.
215, Shook Ones Part 2 by Mobb Deep. This should have been higher up the list
sir.
too. 192, Mind Playing Tricks on Me by Ghetto Boys. This is a
Classic,
fucking classic.
man. Love it.
190, Fuck the Police by NWA. 167, Lose Yourself by Eminem. And I don't know how I feel about Stan being over Lose Yourself. That's another thing we're going to touch upon in this episode. 145, Ms. Jackson. Ooh, I don't know. That should be cracking top 100 for me, but whatever. We'll get into that too. 132, Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim. 129, Hold On, We're Going Home by Drake. Whoa, that's a big one for this list. Number 107, Cream by Wu-Tang Clan. Number 96, 99, Problems. Number 91, Players Anthem by UGK featuring Outkast. Number 59, The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Number 56, Work It by Missy Elliott. Number 50, Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. Number 49, Doo Wop by Lauryn Hill. Number 45, All Right by Kendrick Lamar. Number 39, B.O.B. by Outkast. Number 32, Juicy by Biggie. Number 29, Nothing But a G-Thang by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Number 25, Runaway by Kanye West. Number 10, Hey Ya by Outkast. Number 8, Get Your Freak On by Missy Elliott. And number 2, the highest hip-hop ranked ranked song on this list, "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy. So
Holy shit, man. I thought it was like 2 minutes just to read that list.
Yeah, that was a lot of hip-hop songs. And by the way, guys, just the hip-hop portion alone of the top 500 actually makes up 10% of their list. So they were actually fair with the genre in the way that
honestly,
it was being showcased.
I don't know if they chose the right songs per se, but let's actually dive into that right now into our segment for what the fuck is this song doing on the list. So to start off, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, all right? So this, of course, was a smash hit. I think it was the fastest song to ever go diamond. It was very cool. It was very refreshing, I would say, to the genre, but it just came out. And as good of a song as it is, as catchy as it is, the way they're able to blend country and hip-hop, it still doesn't deserve a spot on the top 500 songs of all time.
I could think about a lot of different songs that would probably make it over
that
this
didn't
for me.
Make this list.
But listen, the commercial success of this song is undeniable. It also ruled the charts for 13 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So you could see the impact. And I like what you said about fusing country and rap, because I feel as if, yes, maybe on the impact and maybe experimental side of things, it did bring in a new flavor to hip hop, one that you'd probably never see, but you did end up seeing with Old Town Road. But I don't know, it feels kind of fishy having that, crack that list. Like, I get it. It was a mega hit. Like, it did major numbers. There is an argument for it, but
listen, man,
there's so many better songs.
When there's songs like Gin and Juice that don't make the cut, you got to ask yourself those kind of questions. But next up, another one that I think is not really merited is actually the Savage remix by Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And I mean, again, another viral TikTok hit, ruled the charts, went #1, did all the commercial shit. And I guess Rolling Stone does tend to kind of go with what's popular and that sort of stuff. So I see why they would bring in a pick like this, but
do you think
it was cool? But before I let you go, it was cool to see Beyonce rap on this song.
That is true. I did enjoy her. I really liked her feature on this. But I have a question for you. Do you think that Rolling Stone takes more of these commercial hits that are questionable for the list and they place them on the lower end of the of the list just to be able to make some people happy, and then after that, then after that, the real people that get into the top 10 are like, okay, you have fucking Public Enemy on here, and then you have
because think about it, there's a lot of kids nowadays that like these are some of their favorite songs. So like if they're not on the list, they're gonna start a riot. But lastly, I want to talk about Hotline Bling. This is nowhere near a top caliber Drake song.
No, I mean I don't. Think
I mean,
so
of course, again, another smash hit. I think it's like his second biggest song ever. But it was a cool summer tune. Like it was fucking vibey. But
give me Tuscan Leather.
Yeah,
give me Tuscan Leather over this. And even at that, Tuscan Leather wouldn't probably crack my top 500. You know?
I feel you.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's always these questionable picks where it's like, even musically, like I think the artists themselves would say they know like this is probably not their best written song.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like imagine not having a song like Fear on this. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that's where I'm kind of at with this. But let's get into the snubs. Talking about snubs at this point. So, why do you think certain songs didn't make the cut? Do you think maybe it's on an influence level or a commercial impact? Like, where do you think they fucked up maybe with the list?
Yeah, I feel like maybe there weren't enough people making the calls to choose what songs and what artists made the list. The major snub for me is that Nas does not have a single fucking placement on this list, man. When I saw that, I was furious. I mean, how are you not gonna have one of the greatest artists of all time, let alone rappers, on this fucking list? And not even a song from Illmatic, like nothing.
Nothing at all. Okay, these are all the artists that were snubbed, by the way. Okay, let's go through this list. The Roots, Lupe Fiasco, J. Cole, 3 6 Mafia, The Lox, MF Doom, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Young Thug, Kid Cudi, Run the Jewels, Blue and Exile, and
so many more, man. So many more.
Whoa, that's like
a lot of
there's a lot
here.
of guys that we just named should have been on there. Like,
how do you not have a Roots song on there? I mean, what they did to have a hip hop band that has the longevity that they had, the concept records they made, and Black Thought being one of the best MCs of all time. How do you not have, their material on there? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's mind boggling. And like, New York State of Mind by Nas, how don't you have that? That's an all-time great.
I know. There's
the way that he revolutionized hip-hop. Also, another one is actually Children's Story by Slick Rick, which was one of the first more in-depth storytelling tracks.
One of the best storytelling tracks of
all time. Revolutionized storytelling for all of hip-hop as a genre, and yet it doesn't make the cut.
I know. You know what song I want to see here, by the way? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Yeah. Exhibit C by Jay Electronica.
100%, man.
Exhibit C 100%. Should have been on this list. I am so mad that it did not make it. Like, I also feel as if, like, they have to be. I kind of understand where they're coming from because they have so many different types of genres to touch into, and they have there's only a certain depth you could go with each genre. But I mean, you probably didn't even touch some of the best of the genre. Like when we're talking about hip hop, like as you said, how could you not go through Illmatic and touch anything in there? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know, how could you not go into Mad Villainy and touch anything in there? It's like, if you want to talk about the best of the genre should be from there. Even something like Undone. You know, like how don't you dive into these projects and grab some of the best songs of all time? So yes, I guess the snubs did sting a bit, and there was some really questionable decisions. But let's actually get on to the surprises, because there were a couple. And let's start with Just a Friend by Biz Markie. Like, this is such an old classic. And do you think that this makes it over Illmatic?
It's such a big surprise. Like, I do enjoy the song. I think the song is timeless because of how fun it is, and the fact that, you know, Biz Markie his singing is totally off key, but he knows it's off key, and it's kind of super self-aware, and it's been in so many film soundtracks, and it has become an iconic song. But it was super shocking to really see this track make it over some other ones. But shout out to Biz Markie, and rest in peace to Biz Markie, because we actually lost him this year. And it's interesting to see his influence over the years, because I feel like someone like West Side Gun vocally does kind of share, you know, certain textures of their voice in common, you know?
Biz Markie's a legend, and rest in peace, and, you know, salute to all of his family, sending prayers to you guys and all of his fans. But it's like, you know, this was nice because it merited the spot, but it's like, does it really edge out stuff like, you know, New York State of Mind? I don't know, but that's why there's some question marks around it. Let's actually get on to Fight the Power by Public Enemy. And listen,
number 2.
But this is the thing, though, is that, like, for me, it's more of like a pleasant surprise. Like, I'm so happy to have seen this song not only make the list, but have such a high stature on it. So why do you think they included it at number 2? And how have you seen the impact of this song, you know, transpire in modern society? Because Fight the Power is one of the most, I would say, deepest hip-hop songs when it comes to, you know, messages about, you know, social problems and other types of areas in the world. So how do you feel about it, and why do you think it made that top 10?
Look, this came out in the 80s, and this was a huge statement because it showed the hip-hop community the power that they had with the music they were making. It showed them that, like, we can actually become these advocates, you know, for social inequality and all this sort of stuff by actually by making the music, by actually, you know, being a spokesperson through hip hop. And that's what this song was. It became an anthem, and it has lived on for so many years because people have seen you know, what music can do in terms of actually having an impact on society, and that's what this song did.
Think about the amount of material that would have been lost if this song didn't come out. Like, I mean, think about how many rappers, you know, used their platform for good and for positive impact and messaging because of this song. Like, Fight the Power by Public Enemy, you know, it came out in the earliest times in hip hop. Like, you know, probably should have gone under the radar, but for some reason, people gravitate towards this song because it has such a strong message to it. And I mean, Public Enemy.
But if we like sidetrack a little bit from, like, let's say hip hop, like, do you think that, like, this song deserves the spot over, let's say, Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday, or let's say Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, or some of these other all-time greats, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding? Like, some of those songs, even What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, some of these songs also have a very powerful message. So do you think that it deserves musically a spot at number 2? I think message-wise, definitely.
I think writing and message-wise, it's probably the strongest out of all those songs that you have named, and especially, like, you know, the type of genre that Public Enemy came up through and the way that hip-hop has influenced modern society up to this point. I think, yes, I do think it has a merited place on it, because at any point in the top 10, you could say, oh, this deserves to be here for this, and this reason, or, you know, this should have been on here because it made me feel a certain type of way. But, you know, it's different for me. Like, I feel as if Public Enemy really pushed the boundaries at such an early and raw stage of hip hop's, you know, let's say foundation, and the fact that we're still talking about it today in the 2020 decade is fucking impressive to me. And I think that this song will still be on the list, you know, in the 2050 decade, just for the amount of impact.
I mean, the way that Chuck D, Flavor Flav, and all the guys at Public Enemy actually, you know, spoke about these issues and used hip hop as a medium to be these political activists and to be these social activists, like, that was revolutionary to the genre. So very merited. But the last, you know, big surprise for me was coming in hot at number 50, Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. I'm sure you've heard the song, right?
Who hasn't? Listen, I'm a massive fan of this fucking song. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you. Like
it's a banger.
most of my childhood was played around Gasoline. I heard this at every single fucking wedding
Facts.
I've been through. But this is not a top 50 song of all time. You can't tell me
Listen,
that this.
man, like-
come on, man. Like
How much money did Daddy Yankee pay Rolling Stone for the placement?
Come
bro?
on,
Come
no,
on,
we're
man.
not going to start.
Not top 50,
no
bro.
colluding talks on the podcast. But listen, all jokes aside,
There's
though,
no way that makes top 50, brother.
I know. Listen, it doesn't make top 50. It doesn't even make my top 500. If I'm being honest with you, like,
nowhere near.
I could think about 500 songs I'd probably put in front of Gasolina to
I know.
make it. But
Also,
it's pretty funny.
It's the only non-English, rap song to make the list, I believe. So that was cool to see.
Maybe because of the way that it promoted Spanish rap and the way
Yeah.
that maybe it brought it to a whole different, set of ears. But musically, I don't know. It sounds like something that could be in a Fast and Furious soundtrack. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, is it
man.
really, like, are you going to put this with Queen's material? Or are you going to put this with the Beatles material? Like, I don't think so. Like, at least in my
I don't
opinion.
know, man.
But
I saw David Bowie's Under Pressure ranked lower than this. So I was
okay,
like,
there's definitely some questions around it, but I will say there is maybe a reason, and I do believe maybe it's because of the way, Spanish hip hop was promoted in the United States just through this song and the way that it was able to, hit an American market. I feel as if maybe from that standpoint, but when it's pure material, no numbers, no nothing, this does not make top 50 in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's talk about the songs from artists that were chosen that it was kind of the wrong song that should have been chosen by that artist. So to start off, California Love by Tupac. I mean, how is this the one that you choose? I'm sorry. It's an anthem. I think it's one of
It could have made the bottom.
the bottom top 500,
450
but,
to 5.
I mean, when you have someone who is as outspoken as Tupac, and you're putting this song, which, don't get me wrong, his delivery is sensational. I love the 70s sample. I love the funky groove to the production from Dre. I think it is one of those all-time great anthems. But when you have songs like Dear Mama, which is one of the best love letters in music history, how the fuck are you not putting that on the list?
Even Brenda's Got a Baby, like that should have probably been on. If I Die Tonight, like
Keep Your Head Up,
like there's way too many good Tupac songs to be able to
with
advance
a much
this,
stronger message, because this
Absolutely.
is it's him being braggadocious. He just got out of jail. He just became reunited with Dre and the whole Death Row crew. So it was a big moment, and I think that's why they put it on here, is kind of more of how big the song is and how much of a moment
it merits
was.
a place on the list.
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. It merits the place, but it's like you could put together a load of different songs that should have a place beyond this, because yes, I understand the impact that California Love deserves, just alone to make this list, but I don't know. I feel as if there's a handful of different Tupac songs that could even make like the top 50,
and that represent Tupac better. I mean, look at Ambitions as a Writer. Like, to me, that's the Pac that I know and love. You know what I mean?
That should have definitely been on there. Another song that I think that should have made it from Tupac is Only God Could Judge Me. Like that's another great. Hail Mary's fantastic as well. Like there's
another
so
classic.
many. But let's actually get on to Stronger by Kanye West.
Number 500.
So how do you feel about this? Like,
It's a weird choice. I mean, I think that it's not even the best song on Graduation, and not even like top 5 songs on
everything I am
Graduation.
over this. Everything I am.
I think what was big about this song was, the electro pop kind of influences, the fact that he sampled Daft Punk. It was a super refreshing sound for Kanye, and it also became one of those motivational gym songs, became very universal, very accessible for people. But there's so many other Ye songs that should have made it, but it was cool to see Runaway at number 25.
That was massive.
That was
was
cool to
absolutely
see.
massive, and I feel as if also it was such a pivotal time within the hip hop genre, because if you remember the 50 Cent Curtis battle versus Kanye's Graduation, so maybe they thought, hey, this was the song that pushed over that sales battle, and that maybe gave Kanye the longevity that Graduation needed. So
well, again, they just chose the biggest song on the fucking album.
I know,
what I mean?
no. When it comes to music quality, I could think of 5 different songs that should be in front of this,
100%.
But I think that when it comes to being a moment, and when it comes to seeing the impact of the way Kanye was able to mesh hip hop and anthem music together, it really did a multitude of effects.
Yes, but why don't you have a song like Say You Will or Love Lockdown that actually influenced this generation? We just saw Baby Keem on his album The Melodic Blue sample Love Lockdown and the song Scars. Like, we're seeing the influence of those songs still today and how they kind of shaped the genre. So I feel like that was kind of lacking, was choosing the crucial Kanye songs, like something like Through the Wire, where he used the Chipmunk soul, and how, he recorded that with his fucking jaw wired shut. Like, that's the impressive Kanye that I want to see on this list, but that's just my opinion, at least.
Oh, no, I definitely understand. And listen, guys, leave your takes in the comment sections for each of these songs because I'd like to see the reasoning behind it. But let's actually move on to 99 Problems by Jay-Z, number 96. And I think that this is one of the most iconic hip-hop songs of all time.
I agree.
When it comes to quality, there should be again, same situation as California Love. There should be, songs that are, better written, better produced in front of this.
Still a great Jay-Z song.
It's one of his greatest. But Lucifer, Renegade, Devils, the story of OJ. There's a lot of different songs that should be in front of here. So why do you think that this is one of Jay-Z's most appreciated songs? Because as a Jay-Z fan, I love it, but I don't think that it maybe cracks like my top 10 most enjoyable songs that I like from him.
I love the song. I think a lot of people respect it because it kind of has this rap rock hybrid in the production. I think that was cool.
Not only that, but cool storytelling within it as well.
Yeah, the fact that, the chorus is, 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one, but he's not talking about girls for the entire song. Like, that was interesting, that it's kind of misleading in the hook, but then he's actually talking about his real problems, like getting racially profiled when he gets pulled over by the police and a bunch of other things like that. So it's a great song, but I just feel like Hope's catalog is so much deeper than that. Like, he has so many more songs that have reached the masses in more ways and that have a better message and that are just better music.
Did Dead Presidents make this list, by the way?
No. Oh. I think this is the only Hope song that made the top 500. Yeah.
Dead Presidents should be in front of this, in my opinion. But let's move on to Lose Yourself by Eminem, and this is very fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if my memory serves me correct, this was over Stan.
It was over Stan.
How do you feel about like Stan being one of the best, storytelling and well-written songs of all time?
Yeah.
Doesn't even crack your top 100.
Stan deserved its spot. I mean, in terms of pop culture, think about just the usage of that word and how every massive fan of any artist is considered a stan, and also the character development through that song was amazing. I think that Eminem knocked it out of the park with that one. One of my favorite experiences on a first listen. But with Lose Yourself, motivational song. I love the aggressive hook, but again, it was a moment. It was the big song off of the 8 Mile soundtrack, and it's one of Eminem's most remembered songs. It's used for fucking political, campaign videos. It has that wide impact. And that's kind of the main narrative for a lot of these songs, is that the public knows them so well that it's hard to ignore them because there's so much in your face.
But do you think that actually carries a weight, though? Because I could see how the argument is with something like Lose Yourself is like, it has such a positive message and it's impacted so many people. How can it not make this list? Like, I don't think that the issue for me is that it's not at 167. For me, it's like, I think Stan is a much better song than this. Like, that's just my opinion.
Not only that, but also like, I just think Eminem has better songs that are more like important, like Business or, like Till I Collapse. I feel like he has songs that really display his skills as an MC much more than Lose Yourself. But that's just how I feel, man.
That's how Lou feels about it. But let's actually move on to Bad and Bougie. So, I don't think that this makes the list for me, like, whatsoever. I think that I would put so many different songs in front of this one. But even at that, like, Bad and Bougie isn't even their best song.
That's
so, like,
why. It's
like this is like not only is it a question mark, it's like, what's it doing here? Like, there's so many different other Migos songs that you could have picked if you wanted to include them on this list.
Yeah.
So why do you think something like Bad and Bougie makes it and something like, fucking Dead Presidents doesn't? Like,
it's weird, man. I think it was a huge moment. I think that, a lot of course, the Migos reaped the benefits and kind of built this massive career off of it. But even if you're looking at their influence, take it back to Versace, where they actually reintroduced the triplet flow. Like, that was a bigger moment for the Migos. Or take it back to T-Shirt off of Culture. Like, that was, primetime Migos, where their chemistry is really shining. But Bad and Bougie doesn't even have one of their members and makes the list. So a lot of questionable decisions by Rolling Stone, guys.
but let's turn this episode into a positive, happy mood. Let's get into the songs that actually deserve their spot. So number 10, Hey Ya by Outkast. That is a smash fucking hit on the spot. And it's actually because, we had said that Bad and Bougie didn't necessarily have Takeoff on it, and you don't have Big Boy on this. But the thing is that Hey actually has a beautiful, deep message to it. Not only that, but it is one of the most commercially successful singles of all time in the hip hop genre. The impact is undeniable, and the concept of Outkast creating such I would say spiritually woke songs and with sorts of very deep my bad. Let me
That are
rephrase
packaged as dance songs, right?
that are packaged and aesthetically, let's say, styled as dance songs, and the way that they move on the charts was fucking revolutionary. I mean, the way that they were able to create their hits was different than anyone else in the genre. So why do you think Hey Ya actually cracked that top 10 for Rolling Stone?
I cracked it because, of course, melody-wise and in terms of the different notes that Andre 3K is hitting on that song, phenomenal. Also, like we were saying, the message, it kind of seems like, a playful love song, but really it's about, two people having to accept their own departure, having to accept their own loneliness, and how the future generation will see a lot of divorce and we'll see a lot of heartbreak, while in the past they kind of stuck together more, and because it was, there were different values in society. So very light feeling song, but inside of it, very deep message. So of course, if you guys haven't listened to Hey Ya, do yourselves a favor, but I'm sure most of you have. Another one off this list is actually, I would say, All Right by Kendrick Lamar at number 45. And I don't know if this is Kendrick's best song, but for the impact that it had, the way that Kendrick rapped effortlessly over this jazzy production, you have a beautiful saxophone playing, just everything was working with this song. So are you happy to see All Right?
Well, as a Kendrick fan, I absolutely am, because I could remember the way that this shifted the way people, listen and consume their music to a certain extent. When it comes to the modern hip hop listener, like, All Right is going to be not only a statement in music, but a statement in society because of the cultural impact it had, the sort of the positive messaging behind depression. Like the whole fact that you could find the silver lining within any dark situation is perfectly depicted in Kendrick Lamar's All Right. And I think it does deserve a place in here. It is a top 100 for me, and I think it is merited because there's very few songs I would put in front of this when it comes to Kendrick's catalog. I do think it's one of his greatest songs, and it was a spot-on pick for me. But let's move on to Doo Wop by Lauryn Hill, and this was just below it at number 49, and this is massive because, oh man, I mean, to a certain extent, Lauryn Hill is one of the greatest to ever do it. And
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to what this song did stylistically and how it pushed the genre to a whole different place.
Also, one of the most sampled songs of all time. I mean, we're
Absolutely.
still hearing it today. But guys, listen, there's so many other songs that we could put on this list that actually merit a spot. Of course, there's Cream by the Wu-Tang Clan, one of the most iconic hip-hop songs
Paid
of
in
all
Full
time.
by Eric B. and Rakim.
Paid in Full, one of the most influential rap songs ever. The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the first kind of woke hip-hop song. So much to kind of go through. So check out the list for yourselves, guys. And of course, let us know your favorites and what you think deserve the spot. And we'll be updating you guys with the latest album rollouts and album releases. So stay tuned for all of that. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you for watching the video. It's always a pleasure doing content for you guys. Listen, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we're doing album reviews, and we actually have our series called Everything We Know, where we take you guys through the whole album rollout of the hottest releases of the year. Not only that, guys, but our Patreon plan is now live. You guys can access that in the bio. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.